So should Michael Carrick get the Manchester United job? I mean, his first 2 games have gone fantastically well, beating City 2-0 and beating Arsenal away at the Emirates 3-2 with some spectacular goals from Dorgu and Cunha. I mean, those goals are goals where I've watched them over and over again. It is so lovely seeing them hit the net. Well, for Cunha and Dorgu's off the underside of the bar. It's always a very sweet goal to look at. As you might see from other videos on this channel, I haven't done loads of videos, but lots of them have been about Amrim and supporting him. And I think people are trying to now, praise Carrick, but also take a dump on Amrim. I think you got to look at the fact that Amrim, he could very much have won these 2 games as well as Carrick has done. Because we have beat Liverpool and Chelsea, and Amrim beat Arsenal last year at the Emirates in the FA Cup. I know it was by penalties, but still 10 men for about an hour was very impressive. So the big games we have done that. It's now, like a lot of fans are saying, I think we're all sort of singing from the same hymn sheet here. We have to now beat Fulham. Fulham is so crucial. Fulham are the team who knocked us out of the FA Cup last year at Old Trafford. Fulham are one of those tricky sides. They're a side. It's a perfect sort of team to play though. They're that proper mid-table club who we struggle against. We lost to Brighton in the FA Cup recently as well. They're the sort of teams which we just struggle to break down. Whereas teams like City and Arsenal who give you that space are teams we have done well against. So I thought we'll get a result in both these games. I thought having Ahmad and Mbeumo back has been a massive boost. First of all, we missed them throughout the Christmas period. If we had them for those games like the Wolves game and the Leeds game and the Burnley game, we would have definitely not have drawn all 3 of those. So having them back is great. We're pretty much near a full squad apart from De Ligt. And what a player to come back. He's been one of our best players of the season. Now, moving to a back 4, it has definitely helped some players. Other players, not so much. Mason Mount is going to be very upset because he's not going to get much game time now because it is only that Bruno position where he'll come in. He could come in off the left and maybe the right, of course, as well. He has done that, but in the other system with Amrim, he was much suited for that than here. Whereas someone like Kobbie Mainoo will get more game time now because of that 2-man midfield behind Bruno. And people saying, Amrim was wrong. He said that Bruno and Mainoo couldn't play together. The fact was Bruno and Mainoo couldn't play together in midfield 2 in his formation. I think that's what he was trying to say, not that they couldn't play together. I think if Bruno was in the front 3, you could play Mainoo, Casemiro, and then Bruno in the front 3, but you're not going to play him there when you have other players who need to be in the team. And Mainoo, I'm still going to keep with it. He's played well. I don't think he's been a standout really, but he's just done well in there with Casemiro. They've worked well together. Still want to see more from him, but I won't. It's always going to be in the back of my head now how he reacted under Amrim, how he became someone who was focused more on England than United, and that attitude issue, which is still there. But I think right now, let the football talk, and that's what I'm happy for him to do. Show what you're made of on the pitch, and he's a sort of player you can carry 1 or 2 of those. The issue is when you have too many. When you have Garnacho, you have Rashford, you have players who have their entourages being a big mouths and that, thinking they're bigger than the club. We don't want players like that. Casemiro has also said that he's going to be leaving the club at the end of the season. That is a shame. I would have, if I had my way, I would say let's keep him on a lower wage. I don't know if that was ever offered, but I would have happily had him around, but not on 300,000 a week. I think that's fair enough. But he'll be a miss because I think he is still a very great player. We've seen that, even though his legs aren't what they used to be. Bruno in number 10, great. Love having him there. But again, it's the Fulham game, it's the Spurs game, and it's the West Ham game. These 3 games, these are the ones now. Will this work? Let's see. Because, even Fletcher played, the same formation, and we didn't do so well against Brighton with Bruno in the team. So, but having Mbeumo back is fantastic, and Ahmad, of course. They just give you threats all over the pitch now, because that was the issue. When I was at the Wolves game, I could see Wolves were just tracking Cunha. They knew that if Cunha isn't getting involved, it's all good because Xerxes doing fuck all. And Sesko tries his best. And he does actually, he did very well against Arsenal in terms of holding the ball up for that goal. So fair play to Sesko. And I think he'll get more game time in these sort of games because this is, Mbeumo was there for that counter, whereas you're not going to do that as much you'd expect against Fulham and these other teams. So Sesko will hopefully take that confidence from those goals he scored before Carrick came in, because he scored 3 in 2 games, didn't he? I think beforehand. So he was on a good little mini run there. So hopefully he can take that into these following games. Looking at the other members of the team, I think Dalot suits right back better than a wing back. I'm not surprised by that though, because I don't know what season it was, but he was one of our players of the season one year at right back. He just seems better suited in a back four. But I think there's an issue with the formation of an Amram was the wing backs. Wing backs was a position where I thought we were going to have to strengthen if we kept with Amram, because it didn't seem to be working. Dorgu, to be fair though, Dorgu's an interesting one because he's obviously playing great as a left winger, but I think what has happened is since he's been a wing back under Amram, same with Ahmad, they've now got in their head to be defensive. I mean, Dorgu was already part of that anyway, but Ahmad more so, because Ahmad was an attacking player who sort of had to adapt his play to be more defensive minded. And now I think it's so against Arsenal and City, we could sit in that back 6 really, have a back 4 with these 2 wingers coming back as well, which I think it's done very well. And I think Dorgu he's always been someone who's been a great athlete. I remember I was at the Ipswich game last year. He got sent off, but before he got sent off, he was great. It was a real shame that he got sent off because he was one of the players, one of the best players on the pitch. But he's shown even under Amram against Newcastle, he got that one goal, that winning goal. He can bring those moments, to the game. He can be a match winner. And that's a big key thing now. We have match winners. Cunha and Mbeumo, even Dorgu now, all Amram signings, which is very cool for him. So some new players, they're match-winning players. Such an upgrade from people like, Garnacho, he did do some. I was at the Villa game when Rasmus got his first goal on that Boxing Day, and Garnacho was good there, but off the bench, that's another thing. And Cunha's been great off the bench, and that's the interesting thing. Can these players do it from the start? And Mbeumo can. And Mbeumo has shown he can. Cunha, I think, has shown that as well, even though he hasn't got as many goals. So I think that's the difference. They are more consistent. They have more strength. They have that experience, that know-how as well. Even just like little things, like just the small details to get past a player or know to feint it. For example. So they have that brain to play. So yeah, I think in terms of Carrick, I'll go for the whole team, but I haven't spoken about Carrick. Also, Laman's like such an upgrade on Onana. People as well saying, Carrick took 2 games to get back-to-back wins. Amram took ages. Let's not forget, Amram came in with Onana as his goalkeeper for that end of last season. Onana was crap. He was so crap. He was so awful. I mean, yeah, we should have got back-to-back wins earlier than that, of course. But then we threw away a lot of the games because of the Europa League. And I think we have to remember that. We were all very happy saying, fuck the league off. Don't care about the league because we want to focus on Europa League. But then people now go back and say, well, why don't we win back-to-back early under Amram? Well, we all said we don't care about the league. We could have easily done that if we didn't bin the league off. So, I think that's a bit of sort of, you can't really have a go at that if you were for it in the first place. You got to remember how you were thinking at that time. So anyway, and we had was it three wins in a row at least, I think, under Amram, and there were some good foundations there. Let's not forget that as well. I think if he was given the time and the players, that this formation could have worked. It would have took longer, absolutely, but I think it would have worked, because even the Arsenal game at the start of the season, we played better against Arsenal in that game than we did this game at the Emirates. The Emirates was 2 pieces of magic from Dorgu and Cunha, and a mistake from Zubimendi to let Mbeumo in. And then look at Arsenal's goals: corner goal, 1 at home, 1 away, and an own goal from Martinez. So they haven't done anything special to score against us in either game. But the home game at the start of the season is one of those where we just couldn't find that magic to get those goals, but we did at the Emirates. So that's the difference there. And the City win. I mean, we could beat them like 6-0, but City then lost to Bodo Glimt. City have been in a bit of a troubled time at the moment, and also they had a pretty weak defence. Let's not forget that as well. So there are some factors you have to throw into it and be realistic, and not also think, one loss with a manager, sack him. One win from Carrick or 2 great wins from Carrick, back him fully. Let's see. Let's actually give it some time. Of course, I'm in dreamland now. I'm looking at all these posts saying, if we win every game, who knows, we might win the league. I don't know if they're going to win the league. This is Manchester United, but I think we left it too late. Imagine, though, if we had won some of those games. I think AFCON, such a shame. I mean, obviously, I know it has to happen, but it's a shame that we had to lose those players. And not only that, we lost those players, but then we lost Bruno at the same time, losing those players, and we also lost Mount at the same time. Because the Wolves game, I keep going back to that because that was the game I was there for. I was like, Xerxes, he has some quality, but not enough. But there wasn't a player in that starting lineup who could unlock a defence, and that was the key issue. Like, the only goal we got was a Xerxes deflected shot, and so Carrick hasn't even had to use Xerxes in the whole match squad against Arsenal. So that's the difference there as well. I think Carrick, though, he seems calm. I think having that backroom staff there as well, he's got a good sort of balance of some experience. Steve Holland. I don't know much about Woodgate. Bloody hell, I said Southgate then. Bloody hell. And obviously Johnny Evans is there, just sort of like I think that sort of bridge between players and the staff. So I think he's got a good little team there. So I'm very intrigued now, like I said, to see these next games. How can he do there? But I think let's not use it as a thing to just have a go at Amrim, because everyone's saying it's not. I don't even think it's a new manager bounce. I think it's just freshness. I think it's freshness all over the pitch and all in the backroom staff. That freshness can really help a team out. But you got to remember, we weren't playing awful. We missed some key players and we did some silly results. I mean, yes, we lost to Everton at home. I know it's 10 men, but Villa did exactly the same. They lost at home to Everton. And pretty much every team has done that, other than Arsenal, as much as the rest. But all the other teams really have had problems like that against teams. So I think Carrick is someone who I will certainly back. Hope he does well. But what are your thoughts? Do you think we should give him the job, depending if we get top 4 or if we win every game? I mean, Roy Keane said even if he wins every game, he shouldn't get the job. So, what are your thoughts on the situation with United's manager, and including as well, like, going forward? Like, what do you think of this team? Who's the best? Like, what's our best team now? But I personally don't think that we have a best team. I think we have a best team depending on who we're playing. I think Sesko should come in against someone like Fulham potentially, because of what I said. Because if they are going to play that way, depends though. Fulham, I haven't actually seen them play recently, so I'm not sure exactly what their tactics would be. That would be up to the Carrick and his staff to work out. But I think we have we have some good tools now in the squad where we can change things depending on how the opposition sets up against us. So that's really good. So anyway, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.